Welcome to I Finally Get It. On today's episode, we sit down with executive coach Tara Bienvenu. Tara shares her journey of becoming the coach that can help you reach your greatness. In studio with me, as always, Dustin Webb, our producer. I'm your host, Jeff Martin. Let's get it. I want to go to that moment when you said, I finally get it.
You want me to take you there?
Please.
Well, let me create some context of what was happening before the moment came. I graduated high school and had no idea what I wanted to do. And in that time and phase, I guess, of life or time frame and evolution, you went to college. Like if you couldn't it was known that you got a degree. And what, it didn't really matter. But if you didn't have a degree, you weren't going to get a decent job. And so I went to college and really just fumbled my way through. So 6 years later, finished with a general studies degree. I had worked my way through college. I had done the sorority. I'd done it all, right? I'd done it all. Spent a few years in New York City as a flight attendant, came back home, went into some leadership management roles in food and beverage, which is how I supported myself through school, and ended up with an organization where I went into the office area and became a recruiter and really found a niche in the human resource space. And it was kind of a fumbling, like a stepping stone as you look back. But I worked with a great organization where I had a real fast track of a career. And about every 12 to 18 months was promoted. The company was growing. And I ended up in the last couple of years being at the executive level. And I traveled about 50% of the time. Now, through all of this, I'm married. I have two beautiful daughters. They're young. They're probably 3, 5, 4, 7, something around those ages. And I don't know that I ever really saw myself loving a career. I thought that I would work to contribute and provide for the family, but I kept kind of seeing myself as the not totally traditional wife and mother, but working to contribute, but not working from a passion and a driven career footprint. Mm-hmm. And there I was. I loved what I did. I loved helping people. I loved the organization we worked for. I loved seeing the impact. I ran a team. I traveled about 50% of the time. I loved the travel. I continued growing and developing. There was always something new, and I could see the fruit of my labor. And it was in direct conflict with who I saw myself to be as a wife and a mother. Yeah. And I reached this fork in the road where the decision became really easy. The season in life that I didn't want to miss the years of my girls. The transition was not. And so here I was, I left corporate and thought, okay, well, I'll coach and I'll train on my own. And as all of this is unveiling, we're buying and selling a personal property. And we're leaving a personal property and a house that we had seen. And I hear, the only way I can describe it is that I heard the Holy Spirit audibly say, you could do this. Mm. And I remember responding almost with like an attitude of my hand on my hip saying, I can do anything. Why would I sell real estate? Yeah. And it sounded a lot like that. Yeah. And it wouldn't leave me. And it made absolutely no sense to me at all whatsoever, Jeff. And so as a coach, I was working with a coach, and I brought this to my coach, and I'm like, I don't get it. Like it won't leave my spirit. I find myself researching what it takes to become a realtor, but it really was like a curveball from out of space. I said, I've just launched coaching and training. This is why I left. This is my passion. I'm really clear about this. So nonetheless, through working with my coach and whatnot, I decide, well, what can it hurt? I'll still coach and train and develop others. And what is helping people in real estate? It's helping them move from where they are to where they want to be. And so that in and of itself is
it's coaching.
right? And just your physical space, which your home is the place that really holds your life, right? It's the nest that everybody just relaxes into every day. So off I go to get my real estate license and add it to my offering. And so this kind of brings me into, I'm getting there. I know it's a long little story, but some of this will tell you a lot about my journey. So here I am now, coach, trainer, and a realtor. And I'm learning this real estate sales, never thought that I would be in that kind of sales. So I'm drinking from the fire hose, and about 3 months in, things start to really get some momentum. As I'm doing these things, I'm not paying attention to backfilling coaching and training clients and consulting and things of that nature. And so this real estate gig, now I love my clients, okay? I get a call one day and they want to see a house. And I say, okay, well, when do you want to see it, right? Johnny Jumper, yes to the client. Yes to the client. And they said, well, we'll see it. Can we see it tomorrow at 6 p.m.? Absolutely. No hesitation. Absolutely. And I get off the phone and I look at my calendar, and I even knew in the moment that there was something at 6 p.m. for my daughters.
Oh, yeah.
And this brings me to the point of what I finally got in that moment. Balance is a lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolute lie. And I say all of that to bring up to the point of that here I was in that moment. I realized if I left a career that I loved, an organization that I loved, and all the things about it, to say yes to the role as a mother that I wanted it to be. And here I am without some of those conflicts, still behaving in the same way. What gives?
Yeah.
And I had to unpack that a bit, Jeff. And so through the last 10 years, it's been a true journey of really going, okay, knowing that balance is a lie is one thing, but what does that really mean then? What does it look like to create the life that you say you want, that you desire in the roles? And that took on a whole nother path to look at. Even the word balance in and of itself holds this duality of tension, that if I was at work, I felt guilty or overwhelmed or less than as a mother, that it was taking away. And if I was at home as a wife and a mother, it was taking away from what the expectations were or what the definition of success looked like at work.
Yeah. And
so this competing tension, even if you look at a scale, looks like an either or an R.
Yeah.
And where life is so much more dynamic than work and life, if you will, or the roles that we have. So
yeah,
a lot of my work is in creating that harmony versus the striving for the balance.
Yeah, because we're all suffering from being out of balance. And when you say yes to one thing, you really are saying no to a lot of other things. So how do you help people find harmony? I love that word, harmony.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. So how do you help people become more harmonious?
Yeah. It's a great question, and I'll say it in a very succinct way for those listeners that like bullet points 1, 2, 3. What do I do? And then I'll expand on a little bit here. In a very succinct way, I've narrowed it down to 3 steps. One, first, you got to decide that it's important to you. The second step is once you've decided, then it is looking at clarity and design. And the third step is taking action. Yeah. Now, some of that, has some tributaries that come off of each of those. Simply put, 1, 2, 3. What I find in my work and my experience, both personally as well as working with so many other high achievers, both men and women, as well as within organizations, because this not only goes for your life, but it also goes from an organizational standpoint. What are the competing priorities? If we're focused on revenue or if we're focused on profit, then does customer service or experience suffer? Or vice versa. If I focus on customer or client experience, then does profit. So anytime you find yourself kind of in an either or type of energy, or you're noticing I got to give one to get the other, you're looking really at striving to give something up for something else. So what I find is that sometimes there are people who decide. A little bit of that decision is like, well, great, I decided, boom, that's going to happen. And nothing else happens. And that's a little bit of just a bit of dreaming, if you will, with no action toward it. Some people decide and then they go right into action. Yeah. They may not even decide. They may just declare, I want this, and they go straight into action. It may not be the right action. It may not be the right thing.
That's right.
And so there's a futility with, I'm don't mistake movement for achievement, if you will, right? I'm busy. I've got all these things to do, but it's like I'm running in place. I'm getting nowhere. And then I'm exhausted and then I'm frustrated. And so then I run the cycle of giving up. And then what do I do next? And so on and so forth. That second step of clarity and decision is the one that is most skipped, most overlooked, and or I think of like a water skiing on the surface versus taking a real deep dive in. And so I find a lot of my clients are people, particularly high achievers, because you're running 1,000,000 miles a minute out there wearing all the different hats. That's the place to rumble. That's the place that you slow down long enough to get clarity. That's actually going to create more momentum for you to achieve exactly what it is that you want.
Cannot agree more.
Yeah.
Cannot agree more.
Just speaking coach to coach.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. Yeah.
This is my kind of language.
Yeah.
I always go back to, ready, aim, fire. Mm-hmm. You can't just fire,
Yeah.
So
and most of us do.
We do.
Well, and our world domesticates us to it. There's too much to do. We'll never do it all. There's too much to have, we'll never have it all. And there's too much to know, we'll never know it all. And so if you want to go for all of the things, if you chase all of the pieces, the likelihood that you're going to catch any or have a great impact is nil. So the balance piece has an energy of striving for it. A great exercise is like try to stand on one foot. Even in when you're attempting to balance, it's elusive. You're still moving.
Yeah.
Right? It's never static. You never achieve it and arrive at a balanced state and then stay there for static. So when you think of harmony, you're really peering into all the things that you say matter most to you and then creating, well, what does that really look like today, this week, this month, this year? And you're creating a vision so that you can then go ahead and put in the action steps so you can achieve it.
Manage toward it. That's right. Tara, nothing happens by accident. You started off coming out of college with very little direction. And, you went into
very little direction.
Flight attendant to now you're an executive coach. And you've gone all the way through that. But I believe in my heart that you had to do everything you've done to get where you are. Let's talk about where you've gone since you realized, look, I'm out of balance. I need to get back in. I need to help people who are out of balance, get back in. Where have you gone since the real estate spot?
Well, interestingly enough, that I finally get it component was as a realtor coach and consultant. And I made a pact with myself at that point in time that I was going to get really, really clear about what mattered in every area of my life. And through the help of working with a coach myself was where I really defined and did that part number 2, right? The clarity and the design of, well, what kind of mother is it that you actually want to be? What is the vision that I have as a mother? I could say it. I knew it in my heart. Like I wanted to be a great mom. I wanted to be a soulful mom. And through working with a coach, it was, what does that mean? And really the guidance of that and really understanding that, how will I know when I achieve it, then allowed me at all the seasons, the different phases and stages of their life, the different phases and stages of, we were a dual income household. We had built our lives around that. That wasn't an option type of thing. So how do we build this so that we're still achieving what matters most? That was critical. So I'm plugging along that. Within less than a year as a realtor, the owner of our brokerage tapped me on the shoulder and said, I hear you have a unique background and we have some leadership opportunities and would you like to be in conversation? And I said yes and moved into leadership in less than a year. Mm-hmm. And I can remember being in that conversation about the opportunities in the brokerage for leadership, and him describing that the role open was to really help new realtors launch their careers. They're getting licensed and they're launching a career as a realtor. They're essentially opening their own business and so on. And I vividly remember, Jeff, looking, I can see the ceiling tiles in this conference room every time I share this experience, looking up and seeing where God had placed the stepping stones to bring me to this opportunity.
Yeah.
Because it's who I was. It's a coach, right? And so had I never said yes to getting my real estate license, I would not have been qualified for that particular opportunity. And that particular opportunity offered me a more balanced schedule with my family, which did not have a whole lot of travel to it, was work that was on purpose, was part of my passion, all the things that I wanted to do. And I was home every night. I wasn't taking the calls. I wasn't saying yes to the 6 o'clock showings and things of that nature. I was really helping the realtors launch their businesses and fulfilling my purpose. Shortly into that role, we had some additional changes, and I ended up as the CEO of that business. And we grew it and worked with a phenomenal team, which is when I was in corporate, one of the greatest things that I loved was leading a team of just an incredibly talented team and seeing what the team together, the synergy and the processes can accomplish. Not, there's just there's a good vibe with that, and to see the impact that carries. So all in all, leadership within real estate for over 5 years, to come full circle and go back into coaching full time.
Tell me about your coaching practice today.
Yeah. Coaching practice today is, you can look me up on all the social media outlets, of course, and learn more, but executive coach and neuroperformance coach. So over the last many years, I've also taken my practice and dove into neurolinguistic programming and mental and emotional release, which adds a whole nother realm of neuroscience into the study of language and behaviors and patterns, which is maybe a whole nother episode, but really deepened that. So coaching one-on-one, group coaching as well, working on some programs that can be self-paced. So they're on the verge of being released. Facilitation, both of mission, vision, values, beliefs within organizations and or with individuals, and then facilitation of connections and meaningful transformations within organizations as well. I have a real niche. I'm told, and I guess through my clientele, can see that badass women who are longing for harmony in their lives tends to be an area that, and business owners that are really high achievers. I find your audience are high achievers, so you'll get this. Most high achievers are not unwilling to do work with people. The biggest thing is that they long to find the trusted person or people for them to be able to go and rumble with all that is within them, both in their personal and their professional worlds. And that, I would say, is probably a niche and a superpower for me, is that I have this unique, uncanny ability to listen, to really separate the meat from the bones, to get to the heart of the matter and really help individuals and organizations call forth their greatness and then take action toward it.
Yeah, that's what I've found in our relationship. You can hear things that other people don't hear. Yeah. And so it's your listening ability and to separate the peas from the carrots, I guess.
That's good. I hadn't heard that one before.
And that's a shout out to one of our other guests, Daniel Dolphin. He's a peas and carrots kind of guy.
I love it.
So do me a favor, because a lot of people don't know this. I'm out there. You really do know your niche and who your person is. And I do too. But people out there really don't understand coaches. They get personal trainers, they get high school football coaches, but when it comes to executives and business owners and entrepreneurs, they don't understand, why would I need a coach? Because I've gotten to this point. So tell me, really, what does it mean to be a coach? And what is the benefit for a recipient of coaching?
What does it mean to be a coach? For me, I think of the I don't know who the author of this quote is. Maybe it's Mark Twain, but the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why, or something of that nature. Yeah. Correct me if it's not.
The day you finally get it.
The day you finally get it, right? And I would say for me as a coach, it's really to help people see their greatness, take a stand for it, and step into it. Yeah. It's partnership. And you see that with a personal trainer. You see that on the football field. It's no different. And some people get maybe a little caught up in are you a life coach? Are you a business coach? Yes and yes. I'm a holistic you are a human being. You are not a human doing. My professional experience and training and work experience positions me uniquely to coach leaders, business owners. You want to get in the numbers, you want to get in budget, you want to get in organizational, you want to get in lead generation. I'm here. I've done it, I've led it, and I've coached to it. And my approach to that is that you're a person. And so what about it matters to you? And so when you achieve all those things in your career arena, what does that do for your life? And is it in ecology with the rest of you? My professional world was not in ecology with my personal world, which is what had me make a decision that I made. There are times that I need to make career decisions because my personal world needs something more from my career. But if we're not coaching to the whole person, then you could make a decision in one area of your life that could be catastrophic to another area. That's not good. That's not what we're looking for, right? So I hope that answers a little bit of both. I would say from why would someone want or need a coach? What got you here won't get you there.
Amen.
I mean, if I were to bottom line it, number one, I think there's even a book with that title on it. And every human being will hit a ceiling of achievement in any area of your life. I have a spiritual director. Why? Because I'm only going to have as rich and as deep of a spiritual experience as I can see on my own.
That's right.
I have blind spots, right? And so I'm not built to see my blind spots. And my spiritual life matters to me. And so I have an advisor and a director that helps me in that particular area. Same thing with health. You know, if I'm only going to get as far, if I'm okay with where I am, then that's good. If I want something different, I likely need to. There's only 3 barriers to results. You likely know what they are. It's either mindset, skill set, or activity. I'm still only as good as I can be on my own. Yeah. I like to give the analogy when I'm having an exploratory or discovery call with a client that this is partnership to me. This is I'm going to learn enough about what it is that you want and that you're looking for. And then once we determine that, we're going to lock arms as a partner. And I like to say it like you're the pilot of an aircraft. You're the only one with controls. I can't fly the aircraft. I'm your co-pilot though. And I don't crash and burn. It might be bumpy at times, but I don't crash and burn. And I'm checking out, where are we headed? What do you see? There are all of these different gauges on the dashboard, if you will. We'll create those as part of the partnership by which we're measuring things. But I can have a unique way and perspective of seeing things that you cannot see.
That's right.
And so if you want to get in the cockpit alone and do all these areas of your life on your own, then go for it. How's it going for you? Right?
That's right.
And it may be going really well. I mean, you don't always need a coach, and you don't always need a coach in every area of your life. But if you're looking to go to the next level, or you're looking for an opportunity to see things that you can't see on your own, and you're really looking for a person to really have a safe space, I cannot stress that enough, to have a safe space to rumble with all of it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Considering and having a discovery or exploratory call with a coach is probably a great next step.
Yeah. And you said it all in partnership. You know what I mean? You need a trusted partner to walk you to the next place you're on your journey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's huge. So it's amazing too, when you get where you are and then you take a look back, you figure a lot of stuff out. That's why I had to do this. It's amazing. And your story is unbelievable. So for anybody out there, what's a good business tip you would give a business owner or entrepreneur?
A good business tip. Where there's lack of vision, people will perish.
Yeah.
If you don't know where you're going, how do you know if you're ever going to get there? I often, use an analogy or a metaphor that, if you want to go to the beach, I want to go to the beach. Well, great. Do you want to go to Bora Bora? Do you want to go to Destin? Do you want to go to San Diego? Here in Louisiana, we have Holly Beach. It's a beach.
These are a few different beaches.
A few different beaches with, and based off of where you are in relation to that even geographical location, your path will be different.
Yeah.
And so without a vision, where are you going? And if you're asking anyone to follow you, a client, a customer, an employee, a family member, a friend, without a vision, people will perish.
Yeah, and,
Number one.
and both of our frameworks start with clarity, right? And that's the vision.
Yep.
So you have to be clear about where you want to go if you're ever going to have a chance to get there.
Yeah, and it's simpler than you think.
It is.
That would be another business tip on that. Some of this can feel really like, when you get into this kind of heady or intrinsic type work, or where you kind of have a knowing in you and there's not the language to articulate it. That would be a key opportunity to have a conversation with a coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's, sign up for a whole year's worth of, get a mentor. Have a conversation with someone that you trust that can ask you enough questions to help elicit out of you what is in you. There are more often times that I'm listening to the client and then I'm able to play it back to them in a more succinct way. And they're like, why can't I say that? Why can't I get that out?
That's right.
And because it's all stirring and like a gumbo in you, and having that trusted partner to really pull it out and then put it together.
Yeah.
That's the power of partnership.
Helps you make sense.
Yep. Helps you make sense.
So I'm about to tell you something it's true. Every time you and I get together and we're one-on-one, I don't know if you hypnotize me or something, but you leave me different and better. And you always have. And I can look back on several conversations, whether it's at a restaurant or having coffee or on the phone, and you have a way of doing that with people. So I want to know your secret. And the listeners want to know, how when somebody encounters you, do you leave them different and better?
Thank you. I'm moved by your kind words, Jeff, and sharing that with me. I believe every single person, every human being was created for greatness. And I look for it. I do it with intentionality. And I think I've done it for so long with intentionality that it has become so natural to me. And I think it's the gravest tragedy when we settle for mediocrity or average. It's just not in me. And so my desire, my hope every day with everyone that I encounter is that I leave every interaction or conversation where the other person or people are empowered to step into their greatness, to who they were created to be.
Thanks for joining us this week on I Finally Get It. For more light bulb moments like this, subscribe so you never miss an episode. Check out the show notes at ifinallygetit.com to learn more about what Tara is up to now. See you next week when we sit down with Taylor Davis and he shares what he finally got. If you or someone you know owns a business and is willing to share your light bulb moments so it helps a fellow business owner, reach out to me at jeff@ifinallygetit.com.